everybody, welcome back to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper. The new Freeform series, Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionists, follows 3 college students struggling with the stresses of school when one of their classmates is murdered. In the aftermath of the town's first murder, each perfectionist hides behind a secret, a lie, and an alibi. Sofia Carson plays Ava and joins us today to talk about the show's first season. But first, here's a look at Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionists.
What brings you to Oregon?
I'm joining the faculty at BHU.
You got friends here?
Don't know a soul. Mona, I brought pie.
Someone is about to snap and kill.
Put your hands together for Sofia Carson.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
How you doing today?
I'm good. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good. No pranks have been pulled on me yet. It's April Fool's Day, so
Well,
I'm
it's
feeling
still
good.
early.
I know. I saw you on Kelly and Ryan earlier with
I
your
pulled
pranks.
some
So
pranks, yeah.
I was like looking behind things and make sure you didn't try anything on me. Do you really like that holiday though, how fun it is?
Honestly, I'm not usually the great of a prankster, so I'm really happy I was able to pull it off this morning because I'm really usually terrible at it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that isn't a prank is the success of The Perfectionists.
Good tie-in.
Yeah, I tried, I tried really hard as a journalist. I've seen so much positive reception on social media. I mean,
Thank
the
you.
Pretty Little Liars franchise, the fans have all really flocked over to The Perfectionists. And it's been cool to see.
Really been so incredibly rewarding to see that we've really been embraced by the fans of PLL and by so many new fans. It was, as a fan of PLL myself, I was so anxious to see what people were going to think because our show is an ode to PLL and it's such a beloved franchise, and to see everyone's reaction has been so overwhelming.
So you were a fan of that before?
Oh my gosh, like the biggest
So you had
fan.
watched all of it?
Completely. Like every single episode, I had binge watched it with my sister. She introduced me to it originally.
So what was the process then for you finding this show? How did you audition or find out about it?
So I guest starred on Marlene King's show, Famous in Love. So we met through there, and they sent over an audition to my agents, and I immediately recognized the audition sides because sometimes when you audition for a show like this, it's pretty top secret. They don't like to release any of the script. So it was actually a scene that I recognized from the original PLL with Hannah and with Hannah and Allison. And I was like, oh my God, like this is that scene from that episode. So I went and I auditioned with Marlene, and I got called back, and then I think a week or so later, I went in and read for the executives of Warner Brothers and Freeform, and I got the call that I was the newest Pretty Little Liar, and I'll never forget that phone call.
And did you audition for Ava, or was it just kind of a general audition?
I actually auditioned for Caitlin first, and then I got the call back for Caitlin, but then when I went in to read for the executives, they wanted me to read for Ava, and it was a perfect match. Thank God.
I mean, you really bring this character to
Thank
life.
you.
For those who haven't gotten to see the show yet, can you tell us about Ava?
Absolutely. Ava is such a remarkable woman, and it's been such a journey to be able to tell her story and to step into her shoes. She is a young woman who at 16 years old lost everything and everyone. She was abandoned by her parents and lives in this elitist society who completely rejected her. And she goes to this school, which is kind of like the equivalent of what Harvard is to our society, where students are expected to be absolutely perfect. So being perfect is kind of her way of coping with loss and with life. And in the pilot, or the first episode has already been out now, so much happens, but basically she loses the love of her life, Nolan, who also happens to be romantically involved with her 2 best friends. And now they're being framed for the murder of their friend. So it's just so much darkness and mystery and intrigue and drama. And there's so much more to Ava's story that you guys don't know yet that you're going to explore. And it was so thrilling for me to tell her story.
I do love her story because you can see that she's really a fighter, and she's so smart too. Like she's coding and doing all this really cool stuff.
Yeah.
So it's beyond just like the fashion beauty. Like she's really like behind doing the coding.
Absolutely, yeah. She definitely is a survivor, and she's brilliant in so many ways. And she strives to be a perfectionist in not only her craft as an artist and a designer, but also in her schoolwork and her coding. So she's really empowered.
Yeah, and we have obviously new characters, but they brought in some familiar faces as well with Allison and Mona. So what has it been like integrating their story into yours? And have you picked their brain for just kind of surviving this Pretty Little Liars universe?
Absolutely. Well, it's still surreal to me every time we have a scene together because I look at them and, they play such iconic roles. Allison and Mona will forever go down in history as Allison and Mona. So I always have to pinch myself. But, yeah, it's been amazing. Sasha and Janelle are two of the kindest, humblest, hardworking actresses I've had the pleasure of working with. So it really is amazing to be able to work with them. And it's crazy how Marlene really intertwined these two worlds so beautifully and made the transition so seamless, because as much as we are a continuation of sorts of PLL, it's a whole new story. But these two characters fit so beautifully in them.
They really do. I got to watch the first 2 episodes, and I do love that seamless tie-in, but it's its own whole new energy and vibe. Yeah. But we still can sort of get updates on what happens to some of the characters.
I
that
know,
we got to
like
know
when
and
Mona
love.
made that phone call and about Hey Love. Oh my gosh, I was dying.
She's like, "Can I send him a gift?" I was like, "Send him a
yes,
gift."
please send him a gift. Tell them we say hi.
And then it's interesting how things are going to play it with Allison's and Emily.
character, yeah.
Because that seems like there's a
know.
lot of places that can go now.
Yeah, I know. Emerson, yeah. I
Yeah.
can't say too much, but yeah.
I was hoping you would say something.
I know, I'm not allowed to.
So what is the vibe like on set with the rest of your castmates? I'm sure you guys have long days, but there's downtime. What do you guys kind of do?
We really have become a family, like especially the 3 perfectionists, because we have the most scenes together. We call each other brothers. Like, I don't know why it's brothers, but it's BRUDDERS, brothers. And we just, like, Eli and Sydney are absolutely hysterical. So we're just, whenever the cameras call cut, we're cracking up. And it's nice because our show deals with such dark topics and such intense and important topics. It's nice to kind of have the lightness on set as well. Mm-hmm. And also, I love so much that, Marlene King, I've admired her for years because she's always had females at the forefront of her stories and such incredibly complex and multidimensional female characters, but also behind the cameras as well. So we're mainly led by like female executive producers, female directors. So it's a really amazing environment.
Is that an experience you've had on other sets, or is this something that's kind of unique to Marlene?
It's pretty, I was directed by when I did A Cinderella Story, she was a female director as well. But I feel like this set in particular is much more female-centered, or there's like more equality in the workplace, because you don't see it as much in Hollywood. So it's been really exciting to work with tons of incredible female directors who are just so brilliant, like Liz Allen, who directed our pilot, and Marlene, Sarah Shepard, our creator. It's really amazing.
That is really cool to hear.
Yeah.
Speaking of the scripts and how secretive they are, obviously we all want to know who the killer is, but we're not going to find out, I'm sure, for a while. How early do you guys get the scripts, or how much do you know?
We don't know anything until the day before the table read, which is when we get the script. And usually you'll see us like in our chairs in between takes, like reading through the scripts, like texting Marlene, like, oh my God. So it's really exciting for us too. And sometimes we won't get it till the day of the table read. So when we're there, we're, reacting as our characters would.
So in the season, is there an upcoming episode that you really love or that you want fans to be on the lookout for?
Yeah, it's weird for me. I've never done television like this before. When I've done movies in the past, you get to see the movie before it comes out, so there's no like surprises. But I haven't seen the season. None of us have. We saw the first episode, now the second one with everyone else, but we haven't seen anything else. So like I'm like a fan, intrigued to see what happens next week. And also when you shoot a season, it all kind of starts to blend together because you shoot for months, like one big movie. But I remember, I think it was episode 6 that I remember being just an incredible episode. Like as the week goes on, so much starts to happen. Because in the first 2, you're kind of meeting us, and then it just goes like, it goes crazy. But I remember episode 6 was like a big one. But there are so many good ones.
I'm marking that on my calendar because you're right. In the first 2 episodes, there's so much.
You're getting to know us.
Yeah, and you can see all of the different pathways that
all
it
the
can
little
take,
layers that are being sewn.
all the secrets.
All the secrets, so many secrets.
And you guys film in Portland, right?
Yeah, we film where the story is set, which is also really exciting because we film on location, like in college campuses. And Portland itself has like this beautiful mystery and intrigue to it. It's kind of cloudy and really lush and green, and it's always raining. And when we shoot late at night in forest, we genuinely are in forest in the freezing cold in Portland, where like there maybe could be an animal or a killer somewhere. So it's like genuine fear at the same time. It's really cool.
I was gonna say, are those days super long if you're actually out in the? I didn't know you were actually out in the wilderness.
We're out in the wilderness at like 2, 3 in the morning. It just makes everything so cool and just heightens the stakes,
Yeah. So you guys have taped everything, right? So you're done.
Season 1 is done.
So what do you have going on now?
So much, thank gosh. But I just got back from Paris. I was in Fashion Week, which was an absolute dream. Fashion's such a big part of who I am. So it was really incredible to be able to live that and go to the Valentino show and John Bautista. Oh, and I met Oprah.
I saw your Wait, I saw that photo on Instagram, and the way you talked about her is how I imagined. Because you're like, she hugged me, and it was like what I dreamt of.
It was like being hugged by the sun and an angel at the same time, but she was sitting literally like where you are right now, or even closer. And it was in the middle of a runway show, and I could not watch the show. Like, I could not. Oprah was right in front of me. I was just kind of staring at her and smiling. I probably looked so creepy, but she was so sweet. She kind of kept looking over and like smiling and I was like, and then we hugged and met, and I told her how much I admired her, and my mom met her. It was really emotional.
But I love how perfect your photo is, because sometimes when you meet somebody you really love, when you get the photo back, you're like,
I'm like
but
this.
you
I
guys
was
both
like,
look so happy and beautiful.
I'm so happy.
You nailed it. You
Thank
nailed it.
you.
Because I know that's a stressful moment.
It was. It was like, I don't know. It didn't really matter. Like nothing. You don't know what was happening. You're like with Oprah. Like what is happening? So that was exciting. And then I got back to LA, and I've been working on music. Which I'm really excited to release a lot of music
Your
this
fans
year.
like that.
You guys, thank you. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. It's sooner than you guys think, but we'll be releasing a lot of music this year, which I'm excited
So
about.
I've heard different singles that you've been, like, are you working on a full EP or an album? Or are you still going to do singles? Like, what do you
I don't want to say too much. You know, the
Okay.
music business has changed quite a lot. We're in the business of singles. But I'm working on a lot of music right now. Yeah.
How would you describe your sound, or what you're kind of feeling right now musically?
I've really been into a lot of R&B lately, and actually my soul's always been very R&B oriented. So I think it's kind of pop R&B. Yeah.
Who are some of those musical influencers?
I'm obsessed with Daniel Caesar. I love him so much. Yeah, he's been a big one recently, but also just I love pop music and where it is right now. Like Love is amazing. Like there's so much good music out there right now. We're in a really good place in the pop realm. I feel like it's so much more than just straight pop. It's like pop meets hip hop, pop meets R&B. It's like a really cool melting pot right now.
There's so much collaboration, and even being somebody who's, an artist, do you feel like there's a lot of opportunity and flexibility to do both, to do music and acting?
Yeah, it's really exciting times right now, and I think Lady Gaga kind of took us back to what it used to be like in classic old Hollywood, where actors and singers were both actors and musicians. And I feel like for a while, it was like you could only be an actor or a singer. You weren't taken seriously as both. But now, you had people who were like Barbra Streisand and Cher, who were always my icons. And now Lady Gaga, who is doing everything. So I'm so happy that people are kind of embracing that again, and I get to do everything that I love, because I'm also working on 2 films at the moment as well.
Yeah. I just saw the Cher show, and it's just like, oh, she's been doing this for
Forever.
Ever.
Forever.
It's so amazing to see. And so that's why I'm happy to see artists now have the flexibility to move and change. And
Absolutely.
I think there's so many different platforms now.
Yeah. And I've always felt that, I get asked a lot which I prefer over the other, and I've always felt that I'm a storyteller or a performer, and I can either tell a story through music or through film. It's just 2 beautiful ways of expressing ourselves.
What age did you start in the industry?
I was actually, I was 21 when I got Descendants.
Okay.
So I had a completely normal upbringing, as in like I went to school, I went to high school, went to college, but I was always dreaming and preparing for this. So after school, I went straight to dance class, piano lessons, writing songs. I always was waiting and preparing for this moment, and of course going on the millions of auditions like all the stories that we hear. But I moved to LA when I was 18, and that's when I officially started pursuing it on. It happened when I was 21.
And out the gate, were you more focused on acting, or was it?
It was
always
originally music. It was
music?
both, but
Okay.
music was my focus at first. And then acting happened a little bit more unexpectedly, and it changed my life, and I fell even more in love with it. And, Descendants kind of took off, and here I am now being a part of this and releasing my music as well.
And the Descendants, there's going to be a 3rd one, right?
Yeah.
So is that already filmed and in the bag?
Yeah. We filmed that last summer. Thank you, guys. We filmed that last summer, and it comes out this summer. And I'm actually going to see it next week. I haven't seen it yet.
So what's the plot in this one?
Oh my gosh, I can't give too much away either, but there's a few new villains, which is really exciting. The plot, what I've always loved so much about our franchise is that we stand for so much more than the fairy tale. We stand for the outcasts, the misfits who never fit in. And it's such a beautiful and empowering story because we all feel like that, right? We've all felt like that at some point in our life. And this time around, our message is almost political. I don't want to say too much, but it's so of the times. And the finale is so cathartic and so beautiful. And it's bigger than the last 2, which is crazy to think. And the music is really amazing. And Evie's fashion is incredible. I was like drooling with every outfit. Kenny says that she's kind of like the Joan of Arc of the movie. So you'll see like a more warrior side of her, which is really cool. So I'm excited.
I love how much you love fashion too, even with your character. You're
Love.
like, yeah, she is.
And I'm like, I wonder if it was a coincidence that both Ava and Evie, they're both like the fashion designers, and I love fashion as well. Like, I wonder if that, came into play when the executives were making the decision.
Probably. I mean, when you
Probably.
look at your presence out there in the world, you are always very well
Thank you.
styled. What are some of your fashion influences, or like when you get up to get dressed, like what are you doing?
When I get into, I grew up really in my mom's closet, and she's always been so timeless and so classic, and my grandmother as well. They were always just so elegant, and I grew up admiring women like Audrey Hepburn and Grace Kelly, and who are just so iconic in that they were so timeless and feminine and really embrace what it means to be a woman in that sense. So I tend to gravitate towards kind of more classic and timeless pieces, but I also have like a little bit of rock and roll in me. Like I always loved Cher. So like things that have a little bit of an edge but are still kind of classic in that way as well are kind of what I gravitate towards.
Would you ever want to do your own line or expand that
I would
way?
love to. I would love to either collaborate with the designer or have my own line in the future. I think that would be really exciting. I really do love fashion. I'm so hands-on with everything that I wear. It's a big part of, I feel like it's another way of expressing who you are. Like you wake up one morning, it's like, okay, what version of Sofia do I want to be today? Which is cool.
I love that, and that's the vibe I get because I'm somebody who doesn't enjoy it, and you can tell when somebody does enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know
you
what I
can tell,
mean?
totally,
When somebody's like putting together looks and they get
Exactly, like
excited.
Zendaya, like you just love
Yeah.
seeing that because she's a chameleon in so many ways.
So good, and the fact that you can look at your characters too, and that it sort of
Absolutely.
is a part of that.
Absolutely.
So, what is the other film then that you're working on?
I'm developing 2 films right now. I can't give too much away, but there are 2 really incredible projects that I'm really excited to be working on. I'll be shooting them both very soon.
All right.
Yeah.
fine. I wanted more details, but I
No,
won't.
I'm sorry. I can't
won't-
say too much.
I won't
You guys will
push.
probably hear about it soon.
Okay, good. I do know we have a couple of questions before we get
Yeah,
out of
for
here.
sure.
So I think we have a tweet coming up first. Set It Off wants to know, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
That's a great question. I would say to just to know that, oh my God, that's such a good, I want to say so many things. Maybe just to say that never, ever, 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 ever doubt yourself. Never. And always believe in yourself. And, even in those moments where, we all have those moments where we doubt ourselves in one way, just know that if you believe in yourself, anything and everything is possible. And I would tell her to just never stop dreaming.
I think that's great advice.
Thank you.
So guys, take that advice for yourselves. Don't wait until you're old. Do it now. Next question.
Sophie. Hi.
My question is, what advice would you give to Ava?
Oh. Ava and the perfectionists in general, they struggle with an obsession with perfection. I think it's her way of coping with the loss that she's experienced, her parents abandoning her, the loss of her love. And I would even give this advice to myself, but I think it's just to not be so consumed in being perfect and realize that the beauty of life lies in the imperfection, in knowing that what makes us who we are is, being flawed and being imperfect and having those moments of vulnerability and brokenness. And you see that in her, and you see the strength that there is in her vulnerability. So I think I would probably tell her that.
I think the show having this title too is so important, that it's set in this academic space, and we all know how hard it is for students and that pressure you feel to be perfect and to get the right grades and to get into the right college. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's an important conversation to be having.
And it's such a relevant one too. It's
Yeah.
kind of scary, the timing of it all, but it breaks you. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why I like that this is set, they're a little older, because you can have sort of
A
deeper
bit more
conversation.
sophisticated and deeper, like more. Marlene, she did an interview about the Perfectionist and how it differed from the original PLL. She wanted to really make a social commentary about the world that we live in and our obsession with this perfection, how dark and scary it is.
Totally. You can feel that. Next question.
Hi, Sophia. How
Hi,
are you?
good, how are you?
So, you and Ava both have such great sense of style and
Thank you.
fashion. So I was wondering, do you ever find inspiration with her? And do you ever, feel like, you mentioned that you, drool over Evie's outfit. So I was wondering, is there any, times that you wanted to take a piece home with you?
Yeah, I actually own a few of her pieces now because me and Janelle, we would be like, those boots are amazing. So yeah, I definitely put a lot of myself in Ava, which was really cool. And I worked really closely with our costume designer, Cameron Dash. She was amazing. So Ava's definitely, she's super sophisticated and super chic, and it's colder in Portland, which is great because dressing for fall is always so chic. So yeah, I drool over almost every single thing that she wears, and a few pieces I now own myself.
Perks of the job.
Yeah.
And last question.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi.
I have a question. So the next episode is on Wednesday.
Yes.
Could you describe Ava in 3 words?
It's a fun one for Ava. You guys are gonna have a lot of fun with this one. You know, she's I would say broken. A broken, vulnerable survivor. Who's also kind of a hot mess in this episode. You'll see why.
Leading with broken, that's saying something.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of hurdles to jump over, I see, in this first season. And I will be watching because, I
Thank
said, I
you.
got to check out the first 2, and I love this kind of whole new vibe, whole new flair that you guys bring to this very loved franchise.
I appreciate it.
And I'm
That means a
excited to
lot.
see where it goes.
Thank you.
So, guys, if you want to watch Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist, check it out on Wednesdays at 8/7 Central on Freeform. Give
And
it up.
stream it on Hulu once it's out.
Do it. Give it up for Sofia, guys.